Hey everyone, it's me again. I wasn't sure whether I should be churning out so many videos, but I have a backlog of stuff I wanted to get out there before I leave, and I contemplated on doing it after my travels and have me distracted throughout my travel when I need to focus on other things because I want to get all these thoughts out there. I used to do this with blogging. The thing with blogging is that I can do it anywhere in the world. So I'll have a backlog of stuff I need to get out of my system, and I could just, you know, do it anywhere, scribble them down on notes, and then just start writing anywhere. As long as I get laptop, as long as I have access to a laptop, I could do it. But also with the Year Ahead 2016 tag, which was started by Patrick from In the 78 Cards, I realized that I have now done about 2 or 3 updates just for March. The first one was, going into the month and how the energy and how things are at the time just coming out of February. And then, of course, anticipating the card for the month after that, in this case for coming out of February into March, and then coming out of March into April. And midway somewhere, it was just clearing off my current contemplative space because of the changing of season and because of the need for the fireplace to be used, to be utilized. And then my sentiment around the Tower card, which at the time, this wasn't in the picture at the time. So the update for this is the joining in of the Mary L. Tower card into my year ahead spread, and the incorporation into my thinking of these 2 cards from the Sevenfold Mystery by Robert M. Place. It's a Neoplatonic based deck. It's just that his discussion and his talk with Angelo Nasios on Neoplatonism and tarot, and this deck in particular, really got me thinking about a few things. It was in particular in relation to this card over here, because we were talking about the Mary L chariot, and then the Mary L has this black dog and white dog, black horse and white horse, starting off with the chariot, and then it's you could see that wolf and dog, that 2 sides of ourselves, the light and shadow side of ourselves, popping up again and again in Mary L's other cards. So my attention was drawn back to this because Mary L's Marie White was alluding to the Neoplatonic sort of idea of the soul being the chariot. The psyche here is a soul, reason, controlling and balancing, making sure you're reigning will and appetite so that the chariot remain united and not scattered and fall down to earth. And our journey is about creating that balance back and got back on that chariot and fly up into the sky again. And of course the Lover's card here with appetite and will, sensuality and virtue, I think, and the choice that you have to make. Fidelity, of course, is with virtue and will, and love and eros is with appetite and sensuality. And that has always been in the back of my mind ever since I encountered this deck about 1.5 years ago. And then it culminated, of course, in this my understanding of the Lover's card, that is, in this idea of synergy between eros and psyche, between soul and desire. And so I got to see this. I became, my understanding of the Lovers developed from here, and then that talk with Robert M. Place, with Angelo Nasios about the soul, and Marie White's discussion around the chariot and around the wolf and the dog throughout the deck as that 2 parts of us. And then of course I link that back to this here. There is will there, appetite there. There is will here, there's appetite there as well. So will, appetite, the soul, reason controls will and appetite, and that is the balancing of the soul so that we can remain on that chariot. Will and appetite, a choice here, and yet here it is no longer a choice. It is, Here it is no longer a choice, it is a synergy. While here it's balancing, here it is synergy. It is more than just balancing. The sum of the the whole is more than the sum of the parts is the key words for this synergy. While here it's a choice. I am going to talk a bit more about the Lovers card in terms of translating worldviews, and I'm going to talk specifically about these two. But for now, I just want to show you that development with regards to my major arcana for the year, which is the Lovers. I hope I have been talking up here all that time. I hope that wasn't too... Anyway, we'll see. So that's that. And of course with the Ace of Cups, haven't really made too much leaps and bounds with them, because it's perhaps because my understanding of the Ace of Cups have been quite stabilized even before the year had spread, while my understanding of the Lovers is just recently formed. And this particular one here, this idea of synergy, really opened my eyes to an understanding of what the Lovers is about, because until then it was a bit unclear to me. Some people say it's about choice, which is of course there, and then some people read it more like Two of Cups, and so this really cleared it for me. And then of course going back to that more traditional aspect of the card, of the message, in relation to all the talk about Chariot on the Mary L, with the Mary L Chariot, or Marie White's take on the Chariot in the Marie L Tarot, brought me of course to a more heightened awareness of this particular card when Robert Place was talking to Angelo Nasios about Neoplatonism and tarot. And so that's the development with that. But with this, I've always seen this as the ultimate pure love, the agape, the unconditional love is what I see this as, these both, which is why the Aphrodite, or the goddess of love, Venus, the depiction of Ace of Cups as Venus or Aphrodite at the in the Tarot of Delphi, I don't feel that is the most appropriate card for me in this particular journey related to the year had spread. And so of course growing up Catholic, I see that as the host and the chalice, communion, the blood and body of Christ, bread and wine, blood and body, Holy Spirit, the death of a God for me, for us, a God that sacrificed itself in a way that echoes in Prometheus. So the Christian paradigm is not the only paradigm which has this idea of a God that a dying God, a God that dies for us, a God that loves us unconditionally. And so that's always been my understanding of this, has been quite stable. There's never been any struggle there, and so that just quietly sits in the background as a running theme of the year. So for a whole year I'm working on love with those, and of course the two these guys are going away, and you see this person just looking around her domain, what she's accomplished, what she has have under her so far. This is a painting, the Belvedere. So I wanted to read, this is Dominion in Thoth, the Two of Wands Dominion, which is understandable if you see the Two of Wands as someone, looking over his dominion in the Rider-Waite, holding a globe. Here it is called actually Dominion. And I want to show you the image of the Two of Wands from the Rider-Waite Smith, or in this case the Tarot of the New Vision, which is about the closest image that I can get for now. But I think we're all quite familiar with the Two of Wands, the traditional Rider-Waite Smith. You can Google that, but it's a guy looking, into the distance of a land that I presume to be his, that he's conquered, that he's, with a sense of accomplishment, with a sense of a job well done, that he's done what he needed to do, and he's ready to move on with the world in his hand. And so Dominion. And so I'll say goodbye to her, and I'll read out quickly from Robin Scott's book, because I did say that I was going to do that towards the end of the month, just to give a flavor of Dominion, or of the of the Two of Wands there. other than the normal interpretation. It is explicitly, I think, in Crowley's Thoth, it is explicitly called Dominion. It is the title or the subtitle of the card. Hold on a second. Here it is. Dominion is a word with some interesting connotations. The Two of Wands is about taking the raw energy of the ace and turning it towards the will to succeed, or perhaps the will to dominate others. The fire has changed from an uncontrolled flame into a focused tool, but it can as easily become a weapon. Our movement has a name now, and it has gained some initial traction. We have set aside other concerns and made our new cause a priority. We suspect that we may need to make some sacrifices to reach our goals, but believe that our righteous aims make them wholly justified. This card depicts an equestrian statue of Teddy Roosevelt that stands outside the American Museum of Natural History, just a few blocks from my apartment on the Upper West Side. It depicts President Roosevelt heroically astride his horse, flanked by two shirtless men, apparently carrying his luggage for him. I understand they were intended to appear as his guides. One is Native American and the other is African. Once you pay attention to it, the intended message seems to be a lot less about the president and a lot more about which group of people is in charge here in America. So I decided to take the reference photo from an angle that completely obscured Mr. President and instead highlighted his majestic steed's impressive undercarriage. The card's primary color is the white travertine, I think that's how you pronounce that, of ancient Rome and of Washington, D.C. So that's the card for March, and we're saying goodbye to that. And so enters the Tower, which in the Tarot of Delphi is the Shipwreck, and the Urban Tarot is the Tower. And you can't talk about New York City and the towers without even thinking about the Twin Towers and everything surrounds it. So no words is necessary. You can just look at that image. And the shipwreck is equally a universal visual language as to what that means. The world still go round and round, but your ship and your lives and the lives of the people in it is completely shattered or changed forever. And so I've decided, I had not looked at these cards at all. Like with the other cards, I tend to work with them about a couple of weeks before I've already started facing them in, the upcoming cards, and then started facing out the outgoing card, and then I will look at the card from the previous month. So the previous month as a context, and then the current month being faced out and the coming month coming in. In this case, if you've noticed my video updates on the year ahead spread, I have not even shown you guys these, and I haven't even looked at them. These two, I just know it's a tower. And if you recall, during our 31-day of tarot challenge, a lot of us found towers, and for me personally, it's towers and the Nine of Swords to be the most tricky cards to deal with. And so I did explain then, it's because unlike death, which is also foreboding, which is also a sense of ending and everything changing, completely turned upside down, death is like a big cog. It's almost as if it's expected. It's almost as if even if it's not expected, when it comes, you can see it coming. With a tower, it plays a lot around expectations. I think when people are anxious or have anxious tendencies like myself, we tend to use control as a form of calming ourselves, as a form of remedying our anxious tendencies. And control is very much linked to expectations, and tower attack that expectation, tower attack that sense of control. Death, no one expects to have control over death, so we don't expect to have control over death. So when death turns up, you just wait for it, you just accept it. So your expectation around death is very different from your expectation around the tower. And also death, as I said, it seems like more of a bigger picture, so that it feels almost, whether that's the case or not, I don't know, but it feels almost as if with death, you will see it coming. It's slow, it's painful, it can be traumatic, but you will see it coming. But I think for me personally, it's that whole expectation. You kind of expect death to come, but the tower is a bit like natural disasters. You know, flood and fire and earthquake can happen, but when they happen, like the recent big earthquakes in New Zealand, it really rattles you to the bone because it plays around with your expectation. It plays around with the world in a way that you assume. You forget that a whole building can just disappear within a few seconds. You know that to be true intellectually, but you really never really think about it until it happened. You know technically that a tsunami can wipe you out within an instant. A city will disappear. You know that. But when it happened, you are dumbfounded because you didn't expect it. And so tower is a bit like that for me. It plays with your expectation, it plays with your assumptions, and it plays with one card, one deck explains tower as the destruction of the ego, and I think that's probably why the tower is quite hard for most of us, is because it plays around not with our mortality so much with our ego, which is the conceptualization of ourselves, our own presumption of ourselves and the world around us. So I would like to say goodbye to these guys because I just don't know what to do with these, and I know the story around that, and I've read Robin Scott's, narrative around this card, and this, I just don't know what to do with them. But when I see this, as I've read out to you in my other video, I would like to quickly read this out to you again. And if you've already heard me read that, and if you've already if you don't want to listen to this, you can just stop here. I'm going to end the video with after the reading for this card. But so my first update was the incorporation of the Sevenfold mystery into the fold here, and of course my second update is the incorporation of the Mary L as the Tower card that I am going to be working for the rest of April. April is an unsettling month because of several anniversaries from certain markers from my previous lives coming, and I'm also traveling in order to sort of close yet more doors from my past, and that's it's all very much in line with all this. And so in another video a few hours ago, just last night, I made a video and I showed you this card, and my feeling around this card have completely changed. This is what I want to say. It's completely changed. I think I may have said this already in my other videos, I can't remember, so I apologize if I repeat myself, but I just want to tell you that reading the book completely changed altered my perception of this card, and I'm very comfortable looking at this card now, and the fact that I've chosen this card against the other two Tower cards to work for the rest of April is a testimony to that. So I'm going to try and read this quickly. Onwards into destruction. That's a quote from Ramstein. The tower and the lighting are lovers, the liberation of divine light through the phallus that is a tower, for the purpose of both creation or destruction, which are one and the same. The tower is the ultimate phallic symbol, a penis or lingam representing the male principle in the universe and the creative force penetrating from one world into another. People in yachts fall from the tower like seamen ablaze with creative fire and energy. While the devil blinds, the tower liberates. The devil was the building of power, and the tower is the release. It is like the strike, the crack of the whip. In the devil, the serpent kundalini began to rise from its base at the spine, undulating through the chakras and making its way to the head, a living caduceus within your body. And now in the tower, the serpent explodes orgasmically from the phallic tower, coming out the head and ripping off its own crown, sending it crashing to the earth like a giant eagle atop the caduceus, spreading his wings and falling like lightning, connecting heaven and earth. The tower is the energy, power, and life force of God, Genesis-like life force to create or destroy. The 16th letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Ayin, which means eye. It is the eye of God with all of the creative and destructive power of the same, a spiritual light that shines brighter than any physical light, far brighter than the sun. Ayin resembles a Y, and in Jewish mysticism it is taught that it is two eyes with one source. One of the eyes sees only evil and one of the eyes sees only good. We as humans, with free will, can choose which eye we will see from. When God strikes us with lightning, blowing apart the carefully constructed tower of our lives, we can decide to see it as a blessing or a curse. We can take that power and harness it for something great, break through the barriers that previously held us, or we can crumble and be buried under its weight, our choice. The lightning-struck tower is a doorway to a new paradigm of self. The tower is like Grail Castle. The tower is like the Grail Castle. Within it is the most precious thing, the true self, the immortal soul and holy grail. When the tower is destroyed, the heart is laid bare. Keywords: initiation, liberation, power, dominion, destruction of illusions and conventions, dissolution of individuality, freedom from unnecessary things and things which are no longer part of your reality. Stress, misery, depression are part of the tension of letting go of old paradigms. Eventually you will find your way again. The crack of the whip, the strike of lightning, the tip of the spear, shattered definitions, find new words, equilibrium restored. So that's going to be the card that I will be working with for all of April. So if you draw cards anywhere in any spread, be encouraged that it is indeed a rejuvenating, and it is indeed an exciting, and I feel my fire in my belly burning when I see this, and I'm excited, and I am comforted, and I am encouraged. And that is a weird thing to say about the tower that I would not have ever thought I would say a few hours ago before reading the book. Bye everyone.